Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brawl in the Family podcast. I am your host, Matthew Taranto.
And co-host Chris Seward.
That's right. We're back again, talking Nintendo, talking video games, all sorts of things. We've revamped the site a little bit. If you're listening to this, you probably have a new homepage. So it's going to be kind of a cleaner way of incorporating everything into our site, so you can check it and see updates and things like get an easy way to access all the podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, the idea was to kind of bring Brawl in the Family into the present day, so to focus on Matthew's new projects and also to fix a lot of kind of issues that have been plaguing the site for a while. The old site was kind of like Frankenstein's monster cobbled together from various bits and pieces, so
I like the specification of Frankenstein's monster, because you can't just say Frankenstein, because that was the doctor.
Exactly.
And some of our readers would be like, wait a minute, these guys, they don't know what they're talking about. But yes, like Frankenstein's monster, it was kind of being held together by duct tape and some stitching, and it was about to just sort of fall apart at the seams. So
a little bit. So
yeah, we figured now is the time for a little bit of an upgrade. Doesn't mean the comic's coming back or anything, but it does mean you get to hear.
It's not.
Yeah, sorry. But it does mean you get to hear our voices on a monthly basis. So That's kind of exciting.
Maybe so.
If you were missing my slightly
sultry
high-pitched...
dulcet tones?
Dulcet tones? Sultry, yeah. I think both of those adjectives work for my glorious voice.
Yeah, you have a pretty good voice.
All right, so what are we talking about today? Okay, so normally the breakdown of the podcast, they're going to be a little bit more compact, a little more focused. Usually we'll start with the news section, then we'll go on to our main topic, which usually involves some sort of video game or video game related category, and we'll wrap it up near the end with a why did they do that section on something that's been bugging us, and then just say our goodbyes, and that'll be the general format for the podcast. Of course, we can always deviate from that a little bit, like today, what a day.
Today was a day.
Today was a real day.
We had a plan for what we were going to talk about.
Yes.
And then,
things
happened.
Things did happen.
That kind of changed our focus a little bit.
Yeah. So our original plan was to talk about Nintendo's strategy of trying things outside of games. So like amiibos, mobile gaming, even some things like DLC or the quality of life like platform that we heard about, but we haven't really seen yet come to fruition. Yeah. We were going to kind of talk about that and balancing that with their game making and what may have been a good idea or bad idea or whatever. We're still going to talk about that, but now we have a broader context for it, and we kind of have a bigger main topic to talk about today, I think. So normally we have the news, then the main topic, then the why did they do that. But today they are all together, all in one. All right.
That must be like a really big, dumb thing that somebody did.
It's a big, dumb video game-related thing is exactly what it is.
Oh, okay.
So, here's what happened. I woke up this morning to a crying baby, but also Nintendo had announced their plans for the next fiscal year, which is up through March 2017. Okay? So they dropped a couple bombshells on us. A couple bombshells, if you will.
Do tell.
The first of which is the NX has a release month of March 2017. So, Chris, what do you think of just that news in a vacuum?
I think it's a little disappointing. I think it had appeared before this announcement that their game releases and development and announcements had all kind of dried up a bit, and it was pretty clear that they were focusing on the next console to me. So I was expecting a late 2016 release, because then that would give several months of excitement. Like at E3, we learn about all the new games that are coming out this fall, and the Wii U kind of got the short end of the stick, but we at least have a lot of things to get excited for, and I think that would have felt a little less like the Wii U's been thrown out into the cold, because now compared if it had been released in November,
right,
that's an extra 3 or 4 months of nothing. So,
I actually don't entirely agree with the NX coming out on 2016. I was thinking they could kind of stretch it out into a 2017 release.
Okay.
Even like holiday 2017. This was assuming E3 they revealed like, hey guys, here's what Retro's been working on, and hey guys, 2016 Zelda's going to be our big holiday game. We're going to have Paper Mario and the Fire Emblem game and a couple surprises coming out. Next year is a little more dry, but we have the NX to look forward to. We have I don't know, maybe EAD's working on something, maybe Monster Games is doing a new Excite game. I don't know, just kind of wishful thinking. I felt like with enough surprises, they could spread out the Wii U library through the NX launch. It'd be a little dry, but it'd be doable, and it would also help ensure a strong NX launch, out of the gate.
So you thought that they would have invested more in the Wii U's lineup this year?
More than they
nothing?
Apparently have. Yes, more than nothing. Yes, a number greater than 0 for sure. Okay, so moving on. So the NX was coming out in 2017, March 2017 is what they're saying, and along with that is the announcement that Zelda Wii U will also come out on the NX, and as a result, it's also got a March 2017 release date. And this is when it starts to bug me. All right, this is when I really get something in my craw. Because if you think about the release of this game, when we were first shown this game, we talked about it on this podcast. E3 2014. E3 2014 was when we first saw it. One of the best E3s ever, I have to add. Like top 3 E3 for me. But Zelda was shown. It said this is coming 2015. 2015 rolls around. They're like, okay, guys, we need it for 2016. So, okay, Zelda games get delayed. 2016, we have a big holiday title. It's a big last hurrah for the Wii U. And it finally gets its own exclusive mainline Zelda game, okay? Mm-hmm. Not Wind Waker HD, not Twilight Princess HD, not Hyrule Warriors. This is like a Zelda game for the Wii U. But it looks like it's not going to be that. It's going to be technically for the Wii, but it's also going to be on the NX at the same time. And I don't like this because it means either I can play the NX version and feel like I'm already playing an outdated game, even though it's supposed to be state-of-the-art and we've been waiting for it for like 4 years, or I can play it on the Wii U and feel like I'm not getting the full experience because it's not on a newer system. There's something holding it back. It's a Twilight Princess dilemma. And I didn't like it with Twilight Princess, and I don't like it now, and they better not mirror it! They better not screw it up! What do you think? What do you think, Chris? What do you think of this Twilight Princess kind of thing? Like, what is your thoughts about that?
It makes me wonder what they'll have to cut. What we've seen of the game so far, like that first trailer we saw, looked gorgeous, it looked huge, and like everything that you could want.
Yeah.
So my concerns are, well, if they're going to keep it on the Wii U, are they going to design an NX version with the same capabilities in mind? If you look at Twilight Princess, it definitely, at least visually, was held back by the fact that it was originally a GameCube game. They could have made it a little nicer looking, maybe added, I don't know, some little flourishes here or there, if it had been designed from the ground up as a Wii game.
Right.
I'm worried about the same thing with this game, that there will be elements of it that, are still good, but if you play the NX version, you'll be wondering, well, it could have been more, or it could have been something else if they had designed it from the ground up on the NX. And it's also going to probably not take advantage of the Wii U's gamepad that much, because if it's being designed to be multi-platform, the gameplay probably would not have something that couldn't be done on both systems.
Right.
And we don't know what the NX is going to do, but I'm just worried that it's going to kind of try to have its cake and eat it too. Well, from Nintendo's perspective, when I don't see how that is an advantage to anybody, except I guess that Nintendo doesn't want Wii U owners to be upset. I mean, I feel like that's the main reason it's still on the Wii U. Like, honestly, I would have almost been happier if they just said, sorry guys, it's just going to be an NX game.
But you see that I wouldn't trust that they've been working on it for the NX, it would feel more like they've just been working on the Wii U, and I mean, I don't know, it feels like they've been working on it since, let's see, I mean, earlier than 2014, obviously, so probably 2013, maybe even 2012, maybe even right after Skyward Sword, which means they certainly didn't have access to development kits for the NX for that long, so I don't know, it's just kind of a mess. You know what I miss? I miss when, like, in the days of Ocarina of Time. When Ocarina of Time came out, it was this awesome Nintendo gameplay, plus completely mind-blowing sort of state-of-the-art mechanics and visuals, and it was vast, it was huge, it was like nothing else that had come before it, because Nintendo wasn't like lagging behind. I miss when Zelda was like an industry standard sort of groundbreaking series, I mean, I don't know if this is just part of having a less developed system in terms of power, but it's just kind of frustrating, when I feel like this game will come out and it'll feel automatically outdated because it's got to launch alongside the NX. And besides that, I don't like how it's being pushed out of this year. I feel like it feels arbitrary to me. It feels like the game's got to be ready to go by the end of the year.
You're probably right. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that they're delaying it just so it launches at the same time as the NX. Same with Twilight Princess. My understanding with that game is that it was probably done, a few months before they needed to release it.
And I mean, this is the 30th anniversary of Zelda. Happy 30th anniversary. So it really feels like it should come out this year. I've actually been playing a lot of Zelda this year because of that. I've been playing Spirit Tracks, which I'm trying to finally finish because that's the one Zelda game I couldn't bring myself to finish. And I'm playing Majora's Mask right now with Sarah, which, by the way, froze up on me at the end of the Stone Tower Temple last time I played, which is the last temple. And, the way the save system works, you can't save and then go back to your game and have it.
Right, so you lose all the progress.
So I lost like 2 hours of progress. I had to take a break for a while. But yeah, I've been playing those games. I've been I checked out the Hyrule Historia again, looked through that, kind of getting set, getting set for the 30th anniversary and the big reveal of Zelda Wii U at the end of the year. Yeah. And I did the Symphony of the Goddesses concert with Sarah. That was a birthday present for me. Speaking of being blinded with rage, let's move on to the other obnoxious thing that Nintendo decided to do today, which was having only Zelda be playable at E3 and no other games. That is the one and only game that's playable.
That's something.
That is really something. It's something stinky because I normally will spend like 95% of the time in the Nintendo booth. And now I don't even want to go to E3. Like, this has literally ruined my vacation. Like, I didn't think it was possible to just make me decide, oh, you know what, never mind. I got my badge and everything. I got it all ready. I haven't gotten my plane tickets yet, but now, I mean, I guess I won't because I don't feel like going to E3, playing Zelda a couple times, and then having nothing to do from 10 a.m. of the first day onward. Right? Because
I hear you, man. I really do. Since Nintendo's been doing this whole Best Buy early access thing for people, so you can probably just go to Best Buy a month after, maybe a week after E3 and play it, right?
Yeah.
They're probably going to do something like that.
They've done that before. So, I mean, it's like, if that happens, there's really no reason for me to go to E3. Yeah. I mean, if I'm only interested in Nintendo stuff. Now, there's probably going to be a couple third-party games, like, there might be like Dragon Quest VII or something in the Square Enix booth. There might be Ace Attorney 6 in the Capcom booth. But, I mean, I was really looking forward to this E3 because I kind of figured Nintendo had some aces in their sleeve, or at least they had, like, an NX presentation. You could kind of check it out and stuff. And as well as Zelda, of course, which I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm still super excited for Zelda, but it's just not enough, Like, what kind of press are they going to get? They're gonna only have people say, hey, Nintendo had this one game, and I guess that's it. Here's our impressions of it. And now let's move on to the next thing.
Are we going to see NX at E3?
We are not. We are. Seeing it at all. They said it will not make an appearance at E3. Like, they were very clear in their press release thing that there was just going to be no NX stuff. Details would come later this year. I don't understand. That like places like New York Times and whatever are going to cover E3 because it's a big thing. It doesn't necessarily mean if Nintendo does their own show later this year that it's going to get the press coverage that they need to help make NX get some ground. Yeah. Become a success. Get people talking about it.
One interesting aspect of the NX is that throughout most of Nintendo's history, most of gaming's history, each generation has been a pretty large jump over the previous one in terms of processing power and graphical prowess.
Yeah.
But that's really plateaued recently, which is, I think, why you're also seeing on the PlayStation and Xbox fronts, they're talking about releasing like a PlayStation 4.5 or an Xbox 1.5, essentially a PS4 or Xbox One that is a little more powerful, that can kind of play a new generation of games, but isn't really a new console. And I think that's because even if they waited a couple extra years to make, the PS5 or whatever, it really wouldn't be that much more powerful than the PS4, just because that's where the technology is. Everything's getting kind of cheaper and smaller, but it's not really getting more powerful. So I think it makes sense for Nintendo to just go whole hog into an NX, assuming that it's a reasonably powered console on par with whatever the PS 4.5 or whatever would be. Not like a huge downgrade anyway. Because with the Wii U and the Wii, they've taken this kind of backseat in terms of power. Like, we'll take kind of a weaker console and we'll make it successful with innovation, which paid off with the Wii, not so much with the Wii U. And I'm very interested to see what their approach is with the NX in terms of the hardware. Like maybe they'll do something that kind of combines the handheld and console gaming spaces, or something.
I don't know what to expect now. It just the decision making seems so backwards to me right now. Like I'm really missing Iwata at this point, you know?
I hear you. I really do, because I did not expect them to continue to invest in the Wii U. So part of the news today did not surprise me. I was not surprised that they were just gonna invest in the next console. I feel like you want to believe the best about Nintendo and have that, you know, they have these high aspirations and are going to support the console as much as a console would deserve. And I'm afraid it doesn't really seem like they will. I sort of expected that, just because it was such an underperforming console compared to the Wii. It makes sense for me that they'd want to turn the page.
But I think it would feel a lot better, just to me, if they gave it Zelda, you know? They gave it like that.
And that was the swan song. That was
a swan song, you know? I just I don't like the simultaneous release with Zelda. It bugs me.
It cheapens it somehow.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I think you're mostly right. I think people that have listened to this podcast know that I'm normally very excited about Nintendo stuff. I don't want to be all doom and gloom and everything. I can't lie. This is probably the most disappointed I've been with Nintendo, you know, in my life.
Whoa.
Which is significant considering we've had things like, last year's E3 was pretty bad. And E3 2008, I think, was pretty bad. And then we had the Wii Music one. Oh, that was 2008.
I think that was 2008.
That was 2008. That was pretty bad. But this, I don't know, man. Just one game at E3 it's not like they don't have any games to show. I even made like this mock-up that showed like what Nintendo's show floor could look like just with the stuff that we know. So here is the image I made today, E3 booth. And this is just based off stuff we know exists. So it's not a great showing, but if they had this, it's more than one game, okay? It's Zelda, it's Pokemon Sun and Moon. They'd have this whole section for Dragon Quest, since like Square Enix is being actually really supportive of the 3DS with Dragon Quest 7 and 8 and 11, all of which I'm really excited for. Yeah. They got a Rhythm Heaven game coming out. They got the Kirby 3DS game, Planet Robobot. They've got, like, I don't know, Mighty Number 9. I don't know if it's getting delayed again or not, but that might be kind of a neat thing to have. And, you know, Metroid Prime Federation Force, which is super controversial, but maybe they'll have some 4-player stations set up and everyone could play and be like, oh, this game's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Then you got the Paper Mario game and the Fire Emblem game. I mean, it's not like no games are coming out. But I don't know why they've decided to not focus on any of that and just hope that Zelda alone will carry the system through E3. I think it's just going to end up being a bunch of bad PR for Nintendo, and it won't bode well for the Wii U or the NX.
I'm not sure about that. I think that Nintendo's priorities have shifted away from E3, which I know is hard for you to hear because for me in the past, but for you up to today, E3's always been like a second Christmas. Like it's been the most exciting thing of the year, basically. In the gaming world, in life. I mean, I mean, you're right. Like people are stepping out of it, though. Yeah, they have been for years actually. Blizzard hasn't been at E3 since 2006, I think, and they started their own convention. And Nintendo's been doing the Nintendo Directs.
Yeah.
So I think it's gradually making sense for a huge company who can afford to do something else to go, you know what? You know, all this expense, all this like hoopla, I don't really need to do it because we can connect to our consumers in a different way that still achieves our goals and it's just less trouble, probably.
I mean, in principle, that's true, but in execution, I mean, I don't know if is it doing Nintendo that much in terms of like, is it really doing them any favors? I don't know.
It depends. What if they have a Nintendo Direct right around E3 where they show a bunch of these games and they'll do like an hour or something for a Direct, I'm sure. And that's kind
of best case scenario at this point because they've already said that nothing else is playable and there's going to be no NX stuff. So, I mean, if they do a Nintendo Direct and they're like, hey guys, we still have some cool stuff coming for the Wii U and they show like maybe some new stuff. What's Retro doing? I don't know. I mean, that could kind of help wash the sour taste out of my mouth. But we'll see. You know, I'm not super optimistic today about that.
I would imagine they would reduce the size of the booth because obviously when we've been in the past, the booth has been very large, like your mock-up there.
Yeah.
If they have a small booth this year, just the little Zelda square, I think that would be a good sign that they're probably not going to come back to E3 in a big sense in the future.
Boy, I don't like that though. Well, I mean, that's because I like to go to E3.
Well, even before you went to E3, like you enjoyed the excitement and the big deal of E3.
Yeah, I did. I know the people are kind of split on that. Some people think, it's too much spectacle and not enough game talk. But I don't know. I always thought the way Nintendo handled it, I mean, they didn't always have great E3s, but when they did, oh man, they were great.
Yeah.
The one 2 years ago. I keep thinking about that one. That one's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's segue on over to our original topic where we would talk about Nintendo doing non-game stuff. Chris, do you own any amiibos?
I do not own any amiibos.
If you could own an amiibo, which one would it be? Is there a trail off there? Isn't there like a series, a Nintendo series that you're like super into, that you're kind of fanboy about? Like, oh man, look at this. Oh man, I want this character.
These days, I mean,
there's not so much for you anymore, huh? Because there's a couple for me still. I mean, I love Zelda. I love Earthbound.
But like, my love for Zelda was revitalized with A Link Between Worlds, which is a great game. I gotta say, it had kind of withered for a while before that. So I'm really hopeful in the next Zelda. I really hope that is something that I can really get excited about again.
Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see on the NX.
Obviously, I'm a fan of Captain Falcon, for example. I always loved him in Melee. I like him pretty well in the new Smash. But I mean, they're not making any F-Zero games, so
no,
that kind of sucks.
Yeah, they are making zero.
Exactly.
Games.
Zero.
In fact, Miyamoto said that. I remember him saying something like, they couldn't really think of new ideas for F-Zero. So then they made Mario Kart 8 and pretty much took F-Zero's gimmick. I was like, okay, I guess so. Whatever.
That's what he said about Star Fox on Wii. Then we got Star Fox Zero. Which is a zero. Out of 10.
Wait a minute. I heard it was all right. Well, I heard it's getting feedback that's a little bit lower than the usual Nintendo game.
Yeah.
I mean, not horrible feedback, but kind of like, it could be a little bit better. We'll talk about Star Fox another time. So amiibos, you're not totally into the amiibos.
I think I like that Nintendo generally handles them in a not essential way for gaming, but
I don't know if we've talked about amiibos on this podcast before because they kind of showed up after Brawl in the Family ended, or well, no, kind of while it was wrapping up because the amiibos debuted with I believe it was Smash Brothers Wii U.
Yeah.
Which was November. Yeah. So, okay. We haven't really talked about amiibos, but yeah, see, that's a tricky thing with this toys to life kind of subgenre that kind of popped up since Skylanders. Like, you can't, it requires like this light touch. You have to kind of thread the needle. Because if you do too much with them, it gets annoying because you're pretty much just doing lock and key DLC, $13 DLC.
Yeah, like what other games like Skylanders or the Disney Infinity do, where you have to buy the characters to play them in the game.
To play them, yeah. I mean, that's kind of pesky because there's just a lot of gameplay locked behind stuff that it really shouldn't be locked behind.
Right.
And the other thing, of course, is doing too little and making it feel like, well, I mean, why even have that feature in the first place? Yep. But honestly, given the choice between them, I would much rather them do too little than do too much.
Yeah.
I have about a dozen amiibos. I got some of my favorites. I got Ness and Lucas and Mega Man and some Kid Icarus ones because I love Kid Icarus too. I don't know, the amiibo functionality. I'm kind of it's sort of, I'm past the honeymoon phase with it. Like I've never really been excited about the whole Toys to Life thing, but when I turn on like Hyrule Warriors, you get rewarded for scanning an amiibo at the beginning of the game at the title screen. You get loot. You get a weapon or some rupees, or you get some material. Like I don't know what it's implying. Like is Ness giving me 50,000 rupees? Like what's going on? How did he get Darunia's loincloth? That's the story there. But after a while, it started getting annoying because I feel like I got to scan these things, but it's kind of a tedious process. You got to lift them up and scan the thing, and it takes a second to register. And you can scan up to 5 per day. Oh, but if I don't scan them, I feel like, I'm missing on free stuff. So it's kind of this extra step that's like totally unnecessary. I mean, Hyrule Warriors doesn't do it very well. My favorite amiibo use is actually Yoshi's Woolly World, which has character skins unlockable through amiibos, which don't do anything gameplay-wise. They're just kind of a cool thing. Like if I scan in Pit, the Yarn Yoshi will turn into like Pit's colors, and he looks kind of like Pit. it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. I don't feel compelled to get all 50-something Yoshis in this case. It's just like a nice little costume bonus. It does absolutely nothing for the gameplay. It's just kind of a fun little extra thing. And it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. And Super Mario Maker does it really well as well. In fact, it might do it even better because then you can unlock those costumes through normal gameplay means as well. So you kind of get a little bit of both worlds. But I mean, otherwise, I don't know. I see like, Nintendo announces codename Steam. You can play as Marth and Lucina, but only if you scan in the Marth and Lucina amiibo, which is kind of like, I don't really like that. Splatoon did something similar. You scan in the Splatoon amiibo and you get these extra challenges that you can unlock. Nothing essential or anything, but some extra free like stuff. And it's kind of like, well, I'd rather just be able to play those challenges without having to buy the toy.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Oh, Twilight Princess HD, which is kind of the worst offender, I think. It comes with, well, some of them come with the Wolf Link amiibo, and if you scan that in, you will unlock an entire like bonus dungeon that you can use Wolf Link in. So that's too much, Just put the dungeon in and have Wolf Link, I don't know, do something else. I don't know. I don't feel like this is a step forward for gameplay.
I agree.
I like the amiibo themselves just because they're kind of neat toys. I'd buy a few of them because I like the characters and they're well made, and I buy them pretty much as toys first and everything else is secondary. It's just kind of frustrating whenever they lock content behind amiibo. So I'm hoping that despite the initial strong sales of amiibo, that Nintendo kind of cools it a little bit with the required unlocks for them. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. You said you buy them primarily because they're cool looking toys.
Yeah.
I think for me it just feels like more stuff, and I'm like, where am I gonna put this? Like I don't want
yeah,
stuff.
No, I kind of have that. I think the older we get, the more we kind of think like, this is just gonna kind of be clutter, But I mean, I'll make an exception for like Earthbound stuff,
Yeah, and I know some of the newer amiibos look better. Like some of the first ones didn't look as good, I guess.
Well, the original group was designed around the Smash Brothers poses, which were not designed in they weren't drawn or modeled to be figures. So you'll have people, you have like Fox balancing on one toe in mid run or whatever. So they have to have this giant translucent pillar holding him up. So I mean, it was a little funky for a while, but yeah, I think some of the newer ones they're more thoughtfully designed in terms.
Yeah,
of,
I think the worst one might have been the Link's first.
Yeah,
one,
Link's big yellow block attached to his thigh. It's pretty funky. It's pretty funky. But yeah, I get the appeal. I just I don't like the locking out element so much.
Would you be sad to see them go the way of the dodo?
I mean they kind of got all the essential characters already, because of Smash Brothers.
So you'd want to see them with NX support, basically.
Oh, you mean like supporting?
Yeah.
Nah, I think we've had enough amiibos. I think we can wrap up this chapter of the of Nintendo's history.
Yeah.
I'm feeling kind of done with the amiibo. So that's that's the toy thing, and I don't think that really takes away too much in terms of development time, but I do think it does come at a gameplay cost sometimes whenever it's locking stuff out.
Yeah, and I think one thing you mentioned kind of ties into what we might want to talk about next, which is that in Hyrule Warriors, you felt this compulsion to log in every day to tap your things on to get the bonus things.
Well, it was less to log in specifically for that, but it was like when I would boot up the game, that would be something I had to do,
Yeah, that kind of gets into the non-gaming things that Nintendo's doing, and you start to be compelled to do things that aren't really fun.
Just because...
I gotta do this, or else I'm gonna miss out on something.
It's like a chore,
Yeah.
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us about Nintendo Badge Arcade?
Oh yeah, Nintendo Badge Arcade. It has this really catchy song, which is good because as you're waiting like 10 minutes to get through the loading screen, that song will become embedded in your psyche, and you will not be able to forget it.
And you'll want to get more badges every day.
So that's a good thing.
I'm proud to say that although I still play Nintendo Badge Arcade like most days,
really,
I haven't spent a cent on it.
Yeah,
so I feel good about that. I feel good about that at least. That's one thing. That's the one thing I can feel good about when I go to bed at night. But I haven't spent any money on Nintendo Badge Arcade. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. Nintendo Badge Arcade is definitely one of those games where you kind of feel compelled to go play it. And I mean, to be fair, the crane game mechanic is pretty well. You know, it's all right. It's like you're grabbing stuff, and it kind of has this sort of realistic physics element to it, and you know, there's an element of fun there. I'm less enthused about like they had Pokemon Picross, and Pokemon Picross is just such a great concept. Like I love Picross, and I'm not wild about Pokemon, but when you add that catch 'em all element into Picross, like that was just immediately appealing to me. But unfortunately, it was this weird pay-to-play game where you could either play a little bit and then hit a paywall and have to play like a month to get the next levels, or you could pay all the money and get access to all the levels and everything, but it kind of completely breaks the unlocking system. You know, it'd kind of be like in a Zelda game if you couldn't get you could get like 10 rupees a day and you had to spend 500 rupees to open the dungeon, or you could pay money and spend 1,000,000 rupees and unlock all the dungeons and all the treasure chests, you know? like it's one or the other, and I didn't like either, so I deleted it. That's my story with Pokemon Picross.
Does it seem to you like that pay-to-win mechanic was kind of added after the game had already been designed?
I don't think so, actually. I think they were building it like that from the beginning, which is too bad because I actually liked the feeling of progression in the game. Like you kind of had a world map thing, and you're going and grabbing Pokemon and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. The pay-to-play like whole format, the whole model. There's the word. The pay-to-play model is just. It's not very enjoyable to me. I understand Nintendo wanting to dabble in it since like Candy Crush makes $1 zillion, but I mean I don't know. I sound like an old fogey, but there's just all these changes going on. I just want. Do you remember in the Nintendo 64 era when we had two like of the greatest games ever, and they're both Zelda games, two great Zelda games within the span of less than 2 years?
That was amazing.
Like what happened to that era? Why does it take freaking forever for Zelda to come out now?
Because you can't make as much money doing that, man. For me, and for a lot of people, like Majora's Mask was kind of hard to get into at first.
Yeah.
Great game, obviously, but when you spend that much money developing a game, you need it to be successful. And I think it was successful. All the Zelda games have been successful to my knowledge, but you can make so much more money with these cheaper games that kind of, nickel and dime people. There's just a lot of money to be had there, unfortunately. And in my opinion, it's very tedious. Badge Arcade, yeah, it's kind of cute, but the load times are absurd. You have to kind of sit through this advertisement pitch from the rabbit.
He does pitch the games.
He pitches other games, and every time you do the practice catcher, he'll say, "Oh, you want to switch over to pay play? You want to switch over to pay play?" He says that all the time. If I could just slip a switch and say, "No, I don't want, no, never ask me that. I never want to hear that again," I would be happier.
Yeah. It seems counterintuitive for Nintendo to include an option that lets you skip the money element. Then.
But then what?
But yeah, I know. I hear you. He's a persistent bunny. That's for sure. Okay, so Chris, what is the extent of your experience with Miitomo so far?
My impression is it markets itself as a meme maker that allows you to create a Mii that kind of develops a personality of its own, that can talk to your friends. It seems like it has some elements of Animal Crossing characters. They emote and they talk and they have a little more personality to them than the actual Miis. Because like obviously on the Wii or Wii U or 3DS, Miis are just kind of, they don't really have personalities. They just kind of do. Yeah,
they're preset sort of animations. Did you say Mii Maker or Meme Maker?
I think Meat Maker would be a better thing than Miitomo.
Wait, what? Meat Maker? Would you have a meat? Yeah, see, I don't have a smartphone still. So, oh, okay, all right. Well, Miitomo is the first of several mobile games. I guess that's all we can really say about Miitomo right now, since neither of us have really played it. But we did watch the weird video online with the hot dog girl.
The hot dog girl was only the beginning.
That was just the beginning.
There was many things. That was an odd video.
Yeah, it went all over the place, man. It was really something. But I guess that's all we have for that. Well, but they are making other mobile games though. They announced today that we're getting Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem on the handheld. Wait.
On the telephones.
The telephones. You have Animal Crossing on the telephone. Ring ring. Hello, it's Animal Crossing. I'm not on the Wii U, but I'm on your phone now. I don't know why Animal Crossing sounds like that. But
there's one thing that concerns me about this. It's available for free. It's the whole freemium, game model in which, you download it for free and you can kind of earn things for free. But there's these currencies in the game. So in Miitomo, there's Miitomo coins, which you get them through in-app purchases. You can use them to buy clothing and stuff. A mini game that looks like you drop a Mii through a thing or something and you get coins. But there's incentives anyway to play the game daily. So you basically, if you play the game every day, then you can you get some extra points and you can use it to buy things. And that specifically is something that I think it leads
compulsion.
It leads to darkness.
Oh, darkness.
Very
because poetic word there.
It's not designed for the sake of being a good game. It's designed to make money. It's designed to keep you playing. It's designed to weasel its way into your life so that it's a little thing in your brain every day that's saying, hey, go play Miitomo, or go log on to Fire Emblem on your iPhone.
Play Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Oh, Animal Crossing already does that.
Well,
so then when it's on the phone, it'll do it even more.
Yes.
It'll be Animal Crossing squared.
I'm actually afraid of that because in this conversation, I was actually thinking about this connection because Animal Crossing, on the N64 or the GameCube, it doesn't have any microtransactions, and playing it every day is it's not essential.
Yeah, I mean, it could be addictive for a little while.
Yeah.
When you're still starting out and a new shop opens the next day or.
Yeah, but the difference is it's not like there's one thing that's go to Animal Crossing today to do this one thing that'll only take 10 seconds and then I can quit. Because that's the main thing I'm trying to do. No, you play Animal Crossing every day, you see what's changed, and you look around and you do couple things. These new games kind of condense that. Like for instance, in Badge Arcade, you do the practice catcher. Or in Miitomo, you change outfits, or you do something very basic. It's not like you're booting up a game because you want to play the game. It's like you're booting up the game because you have to, because you're like, I'm enjoying this overall game experience for whatever reason. Therefore, I need to do this to increase my satisfaction from playing this game, which in my opinion, starts to pervert the whole gaming experience into this compulsive chore where eventually, at least for me, I end up going why am I even doing this?
You sort of have an awakening.
Yeah.
You have an epiphany at one point. It's like, this is not enjoyable.
Yeah, for me that actually happened many years ago playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah. See, a lot of games build themselves around that concept of just that addiction or compulsion. And I mean, I think people found the way to kind of take that addictive element from something like World of Warcraft or EverQuest and then combine it with the whole microtransaction thing, where you have to. I think recently you mentioned playing Simpsons Tapped Out, which I haven't played Simpsons Tapped Out, but I'm kind of have the feeling games like that or what's another one of those games where you get money, but you can also buy money and then use it to.
Oh, all of them. I mean, there's Dungeon Keeper, Clash of Clans. Pretty much all of them have that mechanic.
And I mean, every now and then you have someone that's got, this kind of addictive personality that spends hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these games.
And for what? You're not even getting as much of a game as if you went and paid, $30 for a standard 3DS game or $50 or $60 for a AAA whatever title. You're getting more game for that $60 than if you spent $100 or $200 on this mobile game, which all that money does in these mobile games is just speeds up the experience. And I really hope Nintendo doesn't go that route in one of their games, because that's kind of the worst of all, where it's in Simpsons Tapped Out, it's got some clever writing, fun dialogue between the characters, but it stretches that out. If you log in and play, you might get a few dialogue boxes per day, but everything else is just waiting for things to finish. So you start this thing and I'm sending Ned Flanders to go do this thing, but it's going to take him 8 hours or it's going to take him 12 hours. It's okay.
Wow, Ned, what's going on, man?
Well, his emergency Bible study is 8 hours.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I can see Flanders going to Bible study for 8 hours.
Yeah, so see, if you just looked at it and you saw like, oh, this thing, oh, that's kind of clever, that's kind of funny. But when you get to the actual gameplay, it's not fun at all. It is not fun. And it's kind of stringing you along with the promise of, hey, well, you'll get more characters, you'll get more dialogue. We have pretty obscure Simpsons references. So it's just giving you a little crumb here and there to have you logging in every day or multiple times a day to keep that ball rolling.
Yeah.
It's not about actually having fun.
Now, I don't necessarily disagree, but I will play devil's advocate for a minute, and say that fun experiences in gameplay can often be something a little more tedious or kind of grindy. How would you say the difference is between something like that and, say, like the best Harvest Moon game?
Well, the one difference is that in Harvest Moon, you can pretty much go at your own pace. Since you can just blaze through the days if you want to, in these mobile games, this is like 8 real-time hours. So you press a button and you're like, okay, this character or this building is building or whatever. It's going to take 8 hours.
Okay, so do you eventually kind of extinguish the amount of things you can do like within a set amount of time, and then you just have to wait?
Yeah, everything is on a timer. Everything you do is either building something or performing some sort of action is a timer that you're basically starting a timer. You can pay money, or like this special currency that you can buy with money. You can pay that to speed up the timer and make it finish instantly. So that's where a lot of the draw is in people spending this money. Is like, oh, I want to spend $100 on donuts in this Simpsons game so that I can, whenever I start this thing that takes 8 hours, I can spend donuts instead to finish it instantly and just blaze through all these different things instead of having to wait all the time. So like basically in this game, you are building the city of Springfield, and you start like one building at a time, and it takes forever to get there. So if you spend $100, you can get there a lot faster. That's basically the conceit.
Okay.
And the difference with Harvest Moon is that, yeah, crops take time to grow. Like in the game, when you go to bed, you wake up, then the crops have grown one more day, or like things change from day to day. But
there's other stuff that you can always do.
Yeah, there's always something to do. There's always people to talk to. You can go fishing. These are all like gameplay things that you can do. In all these mobile games, first of all, there isn't that direct connection with the gameplay because it's on a touchscreen. It's not like you're holding a controller controlling a character running around. You're tapping buttons on a screen. It's more like Homer's job at the power plant, like all these buttons that you just press this button, or you'll just ignore them and they're beeping at you. That's basically what these games are, and it's not like a traditional game, and it bothers me that they're so profitable because that's where all the money's going now. That's where all these big developers who in the old days made really good games, like Konami's really fallen off the cliff now. And a lot of Japanese developers.
Square's been doing more of that as well. Yes, more weird little.
It's really sad.
So you're kind of worried, bringing it back to Nintendo, that this might be kind of where Nintendo's going.
I'm worried.
I would not like it. I mean, I totally agree that that's a major step backwards. But you know what else bothers me about the Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem games coming out is that they don't have a full library for the Wii U and 3DS right now. Like, they have literally one game to show at E3, but don't worry, we have these mobile games instead. It's kind of like a spit in the face. Like, why did I buy a Nintendo handheld if you're just going to put it on phones instead? Like, what's the point,
Think of it this way. If you're making a video game...
In this hypothetical situation where I'm making a video game.
Yes. And you think to yourself, well, who's going to play my game? What platforms are there out there to play my game? You could think, well, I could make my own console or my own handheld. That's really expensive. That takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of development. It takes all these things. It takes marketing. You build the factories. You have to do all this stuff. And... the thing is, almost everyone nowadays in like the modernized world is walking around with a smartphone in their pocket. It's basically like a supercomputer. It's probably as powerful. Well, I don't know about a 3DS, but it's nearly as powerful as a 3DS in terms of graphical processing.
Yeah, I mean, I get the market argument where but I mean, people have used that to say like Nintendo should go third party since their own hardware doesn't sell well, but their software would. I'm not sure if I entirely agree. I think it kind of muddles their brand a little bit whenever they have games that they're releasing for the mobile market. It's like it's saying, well, you don't have to buy a Nintendo system. You could just play the games on your phone. And I mean, I get that there's a lot of phone users out there. Just I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced yet that it's a smart move whenever they have they're struggling to support 2 platforms right now, much less 3.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're not going to have 3 platforms. Maybe whatever the
Maybe
NX
next is a hybrid.
Maybe it is. I think that would be smart.
Yeah. I'm bummed out. I'm just bummed out. Do you know why they said they in the press release why they just have Zelda at the show? The Wii U version of the game, The Legend of Zelda, will be playable for the first time on the E3 show floor, and it will be the only playable game Nintendo presents at the show in order to provide attendees a complete immersion. A complete immersion. Yes, because like they couldn't get as much out of the game. I'm picturing someone saying, like, playing it now and saying, "Oh, this Zelda game sure is good, but oh, what's that? It's a Paper Mario demo. I'm completely disconnected now from the Zelda game." Like, what kind of bizarre reasoning is that? A complete immersion? They have to be surrounded by Zelda demos everywhere? You just can't have any other demos?
You remember when they had the Twilight Princess demo and it was like back in the back room? It was
like,
in a closed room.
Okay, that was cool. That was a neat thing.
Maybe they'll have something like that where it's actually closed off from the show floor, because if anyone's, you've been to E3 or you watch a video or something, it's really loud on the show floor.
Yeah.
And
but
having it closed off makes sense.
They already did that. They already did that just fine with a bunch of other games as well. They had like Mario Strikers, and they had boy, that was a while ago. I don't remember what else they had that year, but that was 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But they had a main area as well in addition to the Twilight Princess like cavern, which was cool, But I mean, I don't know. It seems kind of like
I think goofy. Matthew, I think that video games and Nintendo are changing. I think that
I don't like it.
I mean,
I don't
know what to tell you then. Because
it feels, when they announced the Wii, it felt like the future was bright and new, and like everything was magical sparkles, and games were going to go in all sorts of crazy, awesome new directions. And now it's like freaking mobile and pay to play and no games for the Wii U this year. And it's like a Nintendo nightmare. I miss Iwata. I miss him. I think he would have fixed it all. He would have fixed all this.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I just don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, the good news is I kind of have a backlog still, so I mean, I'm not really gonna have nothing to play. I'm looking forward to Dragon Quest 7 and 8 on the 3DS and Ace Attorney 6, and I guess that's about it for this year. There's probably something else.
Are there any Wii U games that are coming out?
Yeah, we're getting Paper Mario. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door non-sequel. And we're getting Fire Emblem Pop Idol Edition, the weird-looking Megaten game
what the heck is that?
I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling that. I'm kind of tired of Fire Emblem. I'm kind of tired of Animal Crossing. I'm kind of tired of Pokemon, the Pokemon Company, and tired of Kimishima doing weird things, messing up my LA trip. I'm just a grumpy Matthew today.
Yeah, it's really sad. I'd always kind of had Nintendo in my eyes as the company that will still make good, solid games regardless of the changes in the market.
And I mean, I don't think they won't. I mean, I'm pretty sure Zelda's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really hope so.
But man, where is everything else? Why is there such a huge drop? It's huge.
Money.
There's a huge drop because of money?
Yeah.
Because they lack money.
Well, no. It's not that they lack money. It's that they're trying to make more money. And by making more things on the Wii U, that's not the best way. That's not, I think in their eyes, that is not their best path towards making more money.
Well, here's the thing,
making more money is doing these mobile games because they can,
All right, hang on. Nintendo's been pretty good in the past about thinking long term, playing the long game. I think what they're doing right now with the Wii U is not smart long term because it gives them a bunch of bad PR. It gives them a bunch of grumpy gamers like me that have been with Nintendo like our whole lives and made 600 comics about them.
Yeah, all those people like you. Yeah.
All those people like me that their comic making fan base subset. They're all mad. Yeah. Go ask the other comic makers. Go ask Awkward Zombie. She's probably mad.
Probably.
Why is that comic called Awkward Zombie?
Because it's implying that the comic has everything from A to Z.
Oh, really?
No, I just made that up.
That's pretty good, though. you could work for it. Go like say hire me, awkward zombie.
Yeah.
I could tell people why you're called that. That'll be your one thing that you do.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if she hears me saying that, here, it's free. Go take it. You can use that.
Free, you can use it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Here's a question that we want to ask. Should Nintendo keep doing this junk instead of what they do best?
Oh man, see I think when you break it down, that's the heart of it right there. Like I love what Nintendo normally does. I love their gameplay. I love their the Wii U is not the most popular console, but I got a lot of great experiences out of that too. Yeah. So I think from this E3 announcement and everything, I kind of that's what the fear is in my heart that things are changing, and I don't do well with change usually. So I think that's really my fear. I don't want Nintendo to stop being Nintendo. I want them to just do what they've been doing, making great games, making gameplay focused stuff. I just want them to stick with that, and that's kind of why I'm so upset today. I really love their output, and it's inspired me to make my own games and to kind of follow the stream of putting a game on the Nintendo system. Oh, by the way, Tadpole Trouble, May 6th on Steam.
Yeah, May 6th.
So that's exciting. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, how important is it to you that Nintendo keeps making hardware?
Oh, you mean like as opposed to going third party?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty important. I could probably live with them doing third party stuff. It feels like if it ever came to that, I don't know if they'd make as many games. I feel like they'd have to lay off a lot of people. I mean, I might be wrong. I don't know. I don't know where the industry's headed, to be honest. But in my eyes, the least amount of actual change, the better. Not to say that their games themselves don't need changes. Like we've already talked at length about what Zelda could use, like what fine tuning Zelda could use, or what elements Zelda could do away with. But I mean, just in the bigger picture, like how you're saying how the whole like free to play model is completely different from what constitutes great games and stuff, that sort of thing. So I guess as long as they're making great games, I'll be happy. I'm not super worried about them going out of business or anything. I don't know. As a fan right now, there's a lot of decisions that have been kind of rubbing me the wrong way, and it's kind of been a slow burn over the past couple years that I haven't liked as much. So I guess we'll see.
It's not a good direction. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully E3 will come and they'll have like a really nice sizzle reel of not necessarily playable stuff, but stuff that they're working on that might, bring back some of that excitement. If they announce Mother 3, which I think they will, I mean, that's one thing that could take a big sting out. I've been looking forward to that for forever.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see, I will hope for the best, but expect the worst after today for E3.
That's sad to hear, man. If Nintendo's ever had a huge cheerleader, it's been you. So.
Yeah. Say Levy.
Yeah.
Sorry to our listeners that we're expecting something a little more optimistic. We would have been more optimistic, but today, I mean,
I don't know, man. We have some pretty negative topics on the schedule to talk about in the next few. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we can space them out, with things that we really like. Are you referring to our Virtual Boy topic?
Well, okay, that's actually a relatively positive one.
Yeah, actually, it's surprisingly positive for such a controversial system.
But we got to talk about Pokemon and Star Fox.
Yeah, Star Fox and the Pokemon Company. Yeah. But yeah, we could mix that in with a main topic about like I don't know, some classic game that we like. I mean, just take your pick. There's a zillion of them. It's the 30th anniversary of Zelda. We could do a bunch of Zelda stuff that Zelda games that we love.
Yeah. No, I mean I think that covers it. That covers a lot of dumb stuff.
Well, I guess that let us get a bunch of stuff off our chest. So next time around, hopefully we'll have happier topics to discuss. But we will be back in a month. We're gonna have a monthly podcast. So check back at the beginning of each month for a new take from us on various Nintendo related things. Hopefully happier topics next time.
I don't know. I mean, well, we'll see.
We will see, won't we?
Goes. Wait, is E3 going to happen?
No, E3 is going to be in the middle of June, so we have one more podcast before E3. So. Okay,
then that'll be the negative one.
Oh, the one after or before E3?
Well, after.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we'll make the next one positive.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. I am Matthew.
And I'm Chris.
And we are Brawl in the Family. Back once again with the podcast. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys. And buy some books. We'll be putting the books on the site pretty soon.
Yep, do that.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.